Hi, I'm Jayjay Gutierrez. I'd like to introduce you today to one of Oracle EPM's newest features called Advanced Prediction. Oracle EPM's latest AI tool lets you see the future of your business today by turning multiple historical data-driven drivers into accurate forecasts. You can anticipate cash flow, revenue, expenses across multiple scenarios before decisions need to be made. It's about moving from a reactive reporting to a proactive reporting, data-driven strategy, giving your finance team a clear, actionable edge. In today's presentation, we'll walk through the key features of advanced prediction. And the first thing is ease of use. It's easy to enable advanced prediction within your existing applications. So you don't need to set up a whole new application. You can easily layer it on top or configure it on top of your existing application. Another feature is scenario planning. Right out of the box, you get best case, worst case, and expected case scenarios. And so you get multiple pictures using the same process and the same drivers. All of that is built into the tool and all configurable. Transparency in the process as well. And so after it makes a prediction, you have the ability to evaluate the prediction and kind of talk through and see where AI was or why AI predicted a certain driver a certain way. Flexibility. Because this is a no-code solution, you have the flexibility to run multiple AI models. So you do have the ability to select Oracle's own ML model, but you also have different ML models, and you can also have the flexibility to include certain drivers and not include certain drivers. Again, so the flexibility, and also same thing with the continuous learning, right? So if you have the ability to quickly have different drivers, have different models, your AI tool is going to continuously learn both the data that you have within the application and any external data that you want to bring in. So the nice thing about all of these features is they're all built into Oracle EPM, and they're all built into your existing investment. And so you can, if you have a net new application, you definitely want to start to look at advanced prediction. But if you have an existing application, this is a great new feature to add on top of your already existing investment. And so previously, Oracle EPM had its own predictive capabilities, right? And so in the chart here, you're going to see the first example is a univariate prediction methodology, which in this case, we're using actual historical data to predict future product sales volumes. You can see here, we're just taking what we did historically from actuals and using that data to predict the future. With advanced prediction, you have the ability to do multivariate predictions. And so we're gonna predict and forecast product sales volumes, but in this case, we're also gonna factor in a lot of other different drivers. And so we're using both internal data that you already have within your application, and you can also use external drivers. And so in the example here, we have historical industry volumes, which is an external driver. Average sales price, which is an internal driver. Any promotions that you're having that would drive your sales forecast. So the internal events and internal periods in the calendar, you can add those promotions within the tool to factor that into your prediction. Another external factor is GDP rates. And so you could see here, we're using a lot of different drivers and using these drivers to predict our sales volume. And so you get a lot more robust forecasts because you're inputting and you're adding a lot of different factors into your prediction. Again, so a lot of this is already built into the tool. So there's so you don't have to code. So previously you'd have to figure out where in the application where this would fit. Because this is a configuration tool, you can configure where and when you want your forecast to be added to. All right, and so now that we've talked about the methodology and the capabilities of having multi-driver, multivariate predictive capabilities, really the overall flow of the prediction is you select your data, identify the drivers. Second thing is you choose your AI model. You can then the next thing is you generate your predictions. You review your predictions, and then you can integrate these predictions into your already existing process. You might already have existing forecasts and budgets that you're using. You can use that to compare your new predictive forecast. At the same time, you can also compare your predictive forecast to any of your existing actuals. And so again, we talked about this a lot. This is all configured. Oracle just released a step-by-step guided flow that walks you through this process. But also, I think the other feature here is it is already integrated into planning, right? And so the integration, the step-by-step flow, and the ability to have iterations, right? So you can quickly add new drivers, make changes to your model without having to, recode a lot of different things. So just walking through this, you can see here's a screenshot of the configuration. This is already the IPM configuration screen here is the same one that's being used for insights. In this case, you'd use it for prediction. You have the ability to select different variables like the calendar. So how far out would you like to predict? Is it maybe it's a 6-month window, a 12-month window, or a rolling window? You can use the tool to configure that. The same thing with historical data. Add the different pieces of historical data that you want relevant. Same thing with future. Then you walk through, it'll prepare your data, and then you'll be able to select the different settings like we talked about, the different models. And so all of this is just walking you through step by step through the process. We talked about scenario planning, right? I think having the ability to have best case, worst case, and expected case scenarios, and then having the tool find the intersection for you where you find that data and load that data. Again, it's walking you through a complicated process if you were going to code this individually, but since it's already built into the tool in terms of just finding the right spots in the cube for you, this is an easy way to implement an AI solution. Transparency in the process, right? So here we've got a screenshot that you could see here. We've predicted, a certain amount of smartphones in July. Well, you can have the ability to say, okay, right click, let me dig into a little bit more of that explanation. How are we getting that data? What drivers in those multivariate prediction are driving this answer? Again, from a prediction output, because through the transparency, you can compare, the different best case, worst case models. You have error metrics that it's tracking. You have a best fit that it's going to give you, and then you can use different actual versus forecast, actual versus predictive forecast, and then forecast against forecast scenarios, so that you can better clean up your I'm going to redo this one, but you can better identify the different use cases for your predictive forecast. Also the flexibility of the tool, right? So key thing here that I like to highlight is the events. Being able to add events whether that be weekends, maybe certain things are, you want to exclude weekends, or you want to exclude holidays, or you want to just have any unique seasonality within your business, you can configure that in the application and add those different dates to the calendar so that you can get a more accurate forecast. Here, again, we talked about the different machine learning languages. It's, you can use Oracle's AutoML, but if you already have an existing language that you prefer, here are some of the languages that are already built into the application. Again, we can use univariate reporting. So it's going to take multiple drivers using the new algorithm, and you can tune your model based on, either of these algorithms, right? So because you can kind of select different models, you can create a scenario for each one of these machine learning languages and seeing which language works best for you. Yep. So again, here's the screen of the multiple configuration points. You have the ability to copy your forecast and copy your predictive capabilities, so you can have different looks at it, and you're not just confined to one set of rules because you had to code it. Here, you can copy the different configurations and then, test out the different ways that you can use the predictive capabilities. So just to wrap up, you're going from, maybe a manually driven forecast to more driver AI driven forecast. You're gonna save time because you have the capabilities to use the configuration tools. You're gonna improve your accuracy. You have the ability to exclude events. You have the ability to add different drivers. As you go through the process, you can select different drivers, so add additional drivers to make it more accurate as you learn how to use the system, or you can take out drivers because maybe certain things aren't as relevant. Overall, you're going to get a tool that's going to allow you the ability for better decision making. So at the end of the day, I think this is a great tool that just came out. I encourage everybody to use it. Whether you're new to EPM or an existing EPM client, you have the tool, you have the configure. It's easily configurable on top of an existing application. I encourage everyone to use it. Thank you.